Hi, thank you for joining me on this short little video where I want to directly address the current situation in the UAE and in particular in Dubai. Now, all of us are aware of the attacks from Iran's side, and there is a lot of speculation right now in the market as to how long this would go on and will this affect real estate in the market here. So I want to actually give you some practical answers on how you should handle this when clients are asking you this particular question. You see, there are a lot of videos being posted right now. They're being posted by salespeople, by brokers, by influencers, and just anyone and everyone is posting information. A lot of it cannot even be verified and might not necessarily be accurate. And I think honestly, it's just too early for us to come in and start to explain what's going on and give our take on it. So I would like to give you a practical way of approaching this current situation so you keep your client focused on what really matters and the opportunity rather than speculations. So here's my take on what I think you should be doing. The first thing that you need to understand is this, that even some of the best governments in the world, with all their phone calls, with all their experiences, with all their daily conversations between the leaders, are still not fully clear what's going to happen and when this will finish, right? So when they don't have the ability to clearly define what's going to happen yet, I don't think you and I are in a position to give definitive answers on these things. So my advice would be that rather than making statements out there, that we don't actually answer this, we learn how to deflect it. And I'll give you how you can deflect. So the first thing I'm simply saying here is clients would ask you, other brokers would ask you without them realizing that you are not the best person to answer this question. So I think I would like that you should not answer, but deflect it. The second thing, the answers that you give would be speculative answers. You wouldn't be able to back it with facts, solid fact. When you speak speculation, your clients will further speculate. And speculations will always lead to emotional energy coming into these conversations, and you really want to avoid doing that. There is a third reason why I think we should not be the ones who are giving the answers to this situation. For many people today, they have emotional energy connected with the Middle East, especially when you look at countries like Iran and Israel, what happened in Gaza, and Lebanon, all of them. There's a very strong political sentiment, there's a very strong emotional attachment to it, and in some cases religious and spiritual as well. You really don't know the person whom you're talking to and how much these areas affect him. So I really don't recommend that you get into conversations about this, because when people start bringing emotional charge and anxiety into these conversations, it's very hard for you to bring them back to a logical conversation on the investment. So the safest way to stay onto the logic and having the opportunity to discuss the investment is to deflect on all these emotions and not talk about it. Now, here's something I use with people. When I get this question from people, I always tell the client, let's say his name is David. I say, David, okay, what's happening next door is very sad. And we're all hopeful that it will end quickly. Now, I'm not the best expert to answer what's going to happen next door. Neither is anyone else that you would be able to speak to right now. What I can tell you for sure is, if we look at the performance on the ground, what's actually happening in our cities in terms of real estate opportunities, we will be able to see that it has not slowed down the opportunity in any way. Let me give you an actual concrete example, but this is not right now, this is from last year, but it will serve the same way. Now, last year when you had the 12-day war, which was between the 13th and the 24th of June, Israel attacked Iran, and then the US got into it with the bombing of the nuclear sites. Qatar was bombed, and a few things started happening. People had the same concern. Now, if you look at the transactions, because this happened in the third and the fourth weeks of June last year. So I looked at transactions in July and August last year. Why July and August? Because the registrations that happen are not actual sales on that particular day. These are transactions where the 4% is being paid to the land department, but those transactions probably happened 4 weeks earlier, 2 weeks earlier, 6 weeks earlier. So when an event happens and people have anxiety, the real impact of that event will not be seen in the registrations on those days, because the registrations of those days are the previous ones. So the real impact will be seen in the following month, a couple of months registrations. So that's what we need to look at. So when I looked at what happened in Dubai last year, right after the war in Iran, Dubai registered 37,700 transactions worth 116 billion. We had two of the highest possible months last year right after that. So we could see that when these kind of situations happen and economies start to become volatile, investors were still looking at Dubai because their faith and the trust was in the government and how we respond to natural emergencies, political, financial, war, health-related emergencies. So confidence was in that. So you should know your numbers, which you can use. So you use as an example what happened last year, and you can verify all these numbers from DXB Interact Property Monitor to see that right after that war, transactions jumped, and in fact the market was in a very healthy space. So at this stage right now, it is too early for any of us to give expert opinions on what is happening in the market, in real estate, and when will this war stop, for example. So let's avoid those conversations. Let's stop adding noise into the market and stick with a clear fact. I'd like to say something else. Fear and faith, both of these are in operation now. Some people are afraid, some people have belief. Now, both of them, fear and faith, have the same requirement. They both require that we believe in something that has not yet happened. The fear is from Iran and what is happening right now, and we are speculating what will happen. So it hasn't happened yet, but fear is causing us to believe in what hasn't happened yet. You can have faith as well, where you can have faith in the leadership of your country and your city, and you can see that they are handling the situation extremely well. We have a lot of global views that are being brought out to show how Dubai and the UAE are handling it well. Our leaders are walking around openly in malls, they're attending big events, they're giving timely updates. There's nothing being hidden from us. We are getting regular updates. So trust the leadership. So either you can fear Iran and what is happening, or you can have faith in your leadership and continue to live, work, and invest in a city like Dubai and in a country like the UAE. But avoid the gossip, avoid adding speculation out there, and stick with the real data and performance on the ground.